Welcome, everybody. Back for another episode of the Centre Circle podcast. What are we now? Episode 59, Key?
59, that's it.
Wow.
Yeah, edging closer to that 100.
Yeah. Closer. Keith will forever keep me honest on the episode count. Today I'm joined by
Binzi. Daz in the building.
Keith.
And we have a very, very special guest today, the Secret Scout. And he's going to be joining us today. We're going to talk through all the weekend's games and shenanigans. There's been plenty today. Thanks, Forrest. And then we're going to really dive into the platform and into the origins of the Secret Scout and get some views on today's game and how some of the youth system and the good and the bad. And to be honest, what I want to understand as well is around the internet and what that's done for the game. So welcome.
Oh, thank you for having me, first of all. I really appreciate the opportunity to come on and talk football.
Yeah, no, thank you as well. I know you listened to the pod early on. We've got a mutual friend.
Yeah.
And he has his opinions, doesn't he?
Yeah.
So yeah, just looking forward to getting your insight on that. And wait, before we start, who do you support?
Chelsea.
Oh, yes. Lovely. Oh, boy. Okay. Yeah. Good. All right, cool. Before I get into it, as always, please remember to like, comment and subscribe, share as well. The interactions are getting more and more interesting every week, especially over on TikTok. They're like having a little argument with themselves in the
comprehension doesn't always land with the topics. But it's
comprehension.
Fine,
Lack of comprehension is the real pandemic, isn't it? Yeah. Cool. So cracking on. Let's get straight into the Prem games, and we'll touch on the two FA Cup fixtures as well. Wolves, Arsenal back to winning ways. I'm looking at the corner of my eye at Daz. I mean, did you see the game?
Yeah, watched the game. It's one of those ones now that you just want the points.
Yeah.
It's all about 3 points at this stage of the season. Wasn't the greatest performance, but they were in control of the game, got the goals, and sort of, you got to get in there and get out of there with 3 points.
And I feel like sometimes we over-egg it, but psychologically, we had to get the win because after last season, people didn't want to feel like the age of the team, etc. 3 games in a week where we haven't won, 2 losses in a row, and then Wolves with all their injuries. The narrative was just building nicely for it to be another Arsenal crumble, and they dealt with it with 2 very good goals. Trossard's finish, I don't want to know if he meant it or not because he'll take the shine off it. And then of course Sodergaard gets a really, really, really classy goal. Bins, what do you reckon?
Yeah, like kind of echoing what Daz is saying about just getting over the line, getting the results, kind of getting over the nerves because obviously like the big thing is April. April's the month that Arsenal fails and falls apart, and we step back up again, and like you said, got the result and putting the pressure back on the others to keep up with us.
To keep going. And then I guess the other thing as well is fatigue. Everyone's been talking about the team look tired, the team look dead in their feet. Everyone's somehow, I don't know if they got the stats at home. I don't know if they've got all the kind of the best stats at home. Everyone's an expert now on what energy looks like. But is it just one of those things? If you're going to be a team that's challenging at this stage of the season, you're going to be playing a lot of games. All those games mean something. The intensity is going to be maintained at a certain level. Or is there an argument, Mr. Arteta, use more of your squad? What do you reckon, Keith?
So, I've been pretty vocal in our WhatsApp group about this. And I'm not saying that he doesn't fully not trust his squad, but the fact that you look at Arsenal's games throughout the majority of the season and you can pinpoint 6 players who are always going to start regardless of what the competition is, what kind of fitness levels they're at. And I think at some point, it's just going to have a toll on the team as a whole and those individuals. Like, I know there's been a thing over the last couple of weeks of Saka limping during games, but he's getting run into the ground. I said this last season regarding Saka. Since Gabriel's come into the team at the start of the season, you look at Ben White, Gabriel, Saliba, they're always going to play. Odegaard's always going to play. Rice is always going to play. And Saka, granted, you got 4 other positions on the outfield to kind of rotate. But if you go to kind of Liverpool today, they were able to rest kind of key players within their team. And they're still in the mix. So it's a case of why can't Arsenal do that? That's my only criticism.
I have a view. What do you think?
No, look, I think there's moments certainly in games where you could rest a Saka maybe for 20 minutes or the guard. The centre backs is a tough one to change because of the importance of a partnership.
Yeah.
They've been brilliant this season, but especially for the attackers, it's a fine line because you want the wingers to have rhythm, but certainly with Saka, you feel like there's definitely opportunities where he could have been rested just to give him that opportunity to recover.
Yeah, and the thing is, top players always play. If Saka's on the trajectory we're talking about him and his importance to the England team, his importance to Arsenal, if you look back at some of the top players we've had in the Premier League over however long, they always play. Unless they're injured, they play. There's none of this resting business. So to your point, it's 10 minutes, 15 minutes at the end, and it adds up. So I do think there's a bit of a middle ground, I think, between the two, where it's Arteta definitely needs to use more of the squad, in my opinion, right? And if he doesn't trust some of these players, it goes back to, I'm not going to rant again, but it goes back to things like Reece Nelson, re-signing him on that level of salary, etc., etc. Why? Why did we do it? He's using basically the same 13, 14 players. So if he doesn't feel like the quality and the depth is there for him to do so, and of course players haven't performed, I would throw it back to him in there and say, you had a chance to cut your losses on some of these players, but you re-signed them. Emile Smith-Rowe, I'll give a bit of a pass because injuries, etc. But if we go on and win this league, which I think is unlikely, it would have squeezed every juice out of that level, mate.
But when I look at it, I think I think he will show us numbers. If you said, "Oh, you're not rotating enough," he will say, "Here's the numbers. I'm rotating." And actually, it's only most probably Reece Nelson who has actually got a real run of games to show his worth in the team. Because Trossard started games, come on games, etc. We're looking at Saka as the example, but like you said, Saka is the elite in the squad. Or that's how he sees him as. Him and Odegaard, it's only because Odegaard runs himself into the ground why he often comes off. Look at Emile Smith-Rowe, his injuries, etc. But actually, I think he has rotated quite, apart from the centre-backs. Ben White's had time out on the bench. Tomiyasu, trust me, Tomiyasu played about...
I pulled up the stats.
No, I hear you, but he had, what, four or 5 games on the bench?
What were the stats? Do you remember?
So since February, he's only not completed 90 minutes twice. So there's no rotation there.
But before that, before February, he was on the bench. He was injured. Tomiyasu was playing. Pulled it up. Because he weren't starting. Everyone's asking why Ben White's not starting. He looks a bit poor. He looks rusty. And then he came on. So in his eyes, that's rotation. You understand? Like when you look at it, that's rotation. If he's got a month off roughly, that's classed as rotation.
And there's needs must as well. I mean, Arsenal won before the little wobble. Arsenal won a fantastic run. Wins and draws, record, goal scoring. No one was talking about rotation then.
No.
No one was worried about that then. So unless you're attributing the recent wobble to fatigue, which we can all clearly see it's not, or there's other factors as well, taking chances, etc., etc. I just think it's one of those things where I think we're speaking with limited facts. Could he use more of his squad? Yes, but he clearly doesn't think the quality is there. And even us as fans on the outside, there is the drop off from Saka to whoever else is next is too big. I don't agree. I don't think Reece Nelson has done anything to show that he deserves more game time, or that in a certain game he should start in that position instead of Saka. He's not showed enough. You look at Trossard, he gets crumbs here and there, but he makes impact on games. So yeah, I'm not sure about that. I think what is clear is Arteta doesn't trust enough of his squad, and we need to fix that in the summer. I think they need to do another couple of 100 million in the summer. I'm not gonna lie.
Wow. couple $100 million.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro.
100.
Honestly,
Is that there? Do you think that money's there?
we have to sell. We're
Yeah, you
now
have to sell, yeah.
we're now sell to buy. But I think if we went through each department, and now you get a decent player, it's 50 mil straight. No less than 50. By the time you do 4 players, that's 200 mil.
I think one of the problems with Arteta's had is that a lot of the rotation players have not been available. So when you talk about people like Tommy Yasu, people that will come in, they've had injuries this season. So he's Partey. He's been out the whole season. He'll be someone who to bring in. There's another couple players at the back. Timber, who would have given you another person that he definitely would have been getting game time.
Yes.
Zinchenko, he's been out injured as well. His fitness has not been great this year.
Yeah.
So I think that's where he's had not so much rotation.
Are you saying that Mertesacker's not doing a good job down at the...
Hey then.
He's not going to bring
I'm just asking the question.
So you want to bring in 17-year-olds and stuff like that?
I'm just asking the question. Like, if your first team squad has injuries, why can't you go to your youth at a certain point?
But if your starting 11 players are fit, so Saka's available. So you're asking him to take Saka, who's available.
Yeah, to give him a rest.
To give him a rest.
Yeah.
So are you going to take 70% Saka or a
18-year-old
18-year-old
these guys have not even come off the bench. You say you take 70% Saka. Why take a 70% Saka and play him for 90 minutes?
But we don't know if it's 70%. We're just speculating.
Like that limping looks like...
No, but to Arteta, he might be 95% fit.
I'm just saying, innit? Like, just you've got options, and we've seen with Arteta, he doesn't like how many say under 21 players has Arteta used since he's been there. Like he hasn't used many. I'm just saying if you've got that whole kind of infrastructure, and Arsenal are not a small club, there should be more players blooding through.
Yo, you could chat now because Conor Bradley and a couple men have played.
But I'm just thinking.
But if you look at even Man City, they've put like a few players on, like in the Champions League, Hamilton was playing, etc.
There's one player, Mario Koscielny. He's one that I would have liked to have seen given an opportunity. I think there's contract situation there as well, so it wouldn't surprise me if he leaves. But he's been brilliant at under 21s, 18s. But he's not had the minutes, not been pushed.
I became aware of him in that the little documentary they put together on Jack Wilshere's team, the FA Cup run. And I saw him, he looks...
He's a good player.
Yeah, he looks very serious. Yeah, he looks serious. I know, in all seriousness, I agree. I do take that as a point. But is there an element of maybe the class that's there now, they're not good enough for him to put them in the situation we're in?
Yeah.
You know, at this cutting edge, we're trying to go for the title after last season. They might just not be good enough.
You're in the top level. You're going for Premier League, Champions League. How are you going to take someone 18? Klopp's done it because he's had to. Arteta's not had to do it. So he's not going to do that. No manager's not going to want to pick a 17, 18-year-old straight out the academy and put them into a high-pressure Champions League, Premier League game where you know you have to win. There's no room for error.
Because it was injuries that got the debut of Dan and Bradley and all those guys, but that was injuries.
But
it wasn't pros weren't being left on the bench.
Often young players, it comes because of an opportunity. Unless you're like an Owen or a Rooney
or a Saka.
You get it here, Saka. You've got to be an outstanding player. Usually, it's often an injury. Look at Conor Bradley; he's taking his chance, but that's because of an injury.
Newcastle.
Or two.
Is it Miley?
Exactly. He had several injuries. Why he had no choice but to pick him.
So I don't think the youth thing is underutilized when we think about the depth of the injuries, but I do think there could be more use of the squad. And if those guys, there isn't anyone that was performing before that isn't now. So if you say to me, oh well, we signed Reece Nelson because XYZ and it's on him because he's not performing now, I'm like, no, this is the same Reece Nelson we've seen for some time. You know, Smith Rowe, you take a chance on him, etc. You mentioned the midfield. To be fair to Arteta, they've rotated a little bit in the midfield. Jorginho's played. Since Partey's come back, he's been a bit rusty. He's misplaced a few passes. But he's played, so midfield's probably one area. And Odegaard does get subbed off quite regularly, actually. For a captain, he gets subbed off quite regularly. But okay, let's move on. I think Arsenal back to winning ways. That result was on the Saturday and put them top for a period of time. Let's get to Fulham, Liverpool. I had Liverpool fans telling me last week that Fulham are Liverpool's bogey team. I thought that was just them trying to do early disclaimer in case the weekend didn't go well. Well, it ended up being Fulham 1, Liverpool 3.
Yeah. Well, on that point, the 2 games we played at Anfield against Fulham this season, league game, they should have won. They capitulated in the last 5-10 minutes. First leg of the League Cup semi-final, they were pretty much all over us, had loads of chances to score before.
But
you're saying the games we played against them this season haven't been a foregone conclusion. That's why some Liverpool
it's not
fans
bogey then, is it?
might have been a bit. Yeah, they're not really. But
Yeah, exactly.
For this season, yeah. Yeah, I was a little bit nervous. I'm not going to lie. And I said, yeah, the last month we haven't played particularly well. We got the win on Thursday. It wasn't a great performance, but yeah, Klopp rotated today. And yeah, we played well. Pretty much controlled pretty much of the game. Trent scored a great free kick, and then there was a nervy 4 minutes before the end of the first half where Fulham equalised. But other than that, we pretty much dominated the game. Gravenberch, who I thought had a good game today, along with Gakpo. Gravenberch put us 2-1 ahead with a nice finish. And yeah, Jota rounded off a nice victory, needed victory for us to keep us in the hunt.
So why didn't Salah start? Was it resting or
potentially
injury?
we've got three away games in a week, innit, or in 6 days. So we've got the Merseyside derby, which is always a tough game regardless of.
Yeah, easy. Yeah.
What's the record
Whatever.
right now?
Don't worry about it. When you lot are playing Tottenham, you're like, oh, it's a
No,
derby.
but
It's a
Tottenham
derby.
are way better
Yeah,
than
yeah.
Everton.
Exactly.
And then, yeah, we've got West Ham on Saturday morning, another 12:30, but that's another conversation. We don't know what West Ham's going to turn up in it, so
Yeah, because the West Ham
Yeah.
had turned up today. I don't know what they were doing.
yeah. So yeah, on the whole, we done what we needed to do.
Yeah.
Keep the pressure on Arsenal, keep the pressure on Man City, and yeah, let's see what happens midweek. That's it, really.
I was hoping, when it was 1-1, I thought, okay, can we have another wobble here? And he did start Salah, etc. But yeah, it seems like a couple of the fringe guys turned up, as per the previous conversation. So Gakpo turns up, Gravenberch turns up.
Yeah.
Binge, you've been very vocal about Gakpo's suitability for this Liverpool team. What are you saying?
Like I said, I think physically, his attributes, I would expect so much more from him. Today, done okay. He got an assist. You could see he was trying to get that goal. But for someone that's that tall, that strong, that fast, he's not really upsetting a lot of defenses consistently. And that's what's disappointing for me. I'm like, oh, this guy should be able to, he's got all the attributes. And he's a lot calmer than Nunes. But he just doesn't seem to have that intensity.
You see it in glimpses.
Yeah.
Few
A
and
little
far
glimpse.
between. Yeah.
And it just drops off. So now I'm just like, he's just there to...
This is his first season though, right?
Yeah.
No, he came in January last year. So
been
been a year and a half.
What's his best position?
I don't know.
Yeah,
So
that's half the problem. That's half the problem. No one knows.
Yeah, so at this, when we were kind of toying with who to play in midfield, Klopp played him in the middle three. And since then, he's come out and said, I shouldn't have done that because Gakpo sees himself as an attacker. And I kind of dented his confidence, put him in that middle three, and he wasn't really able to kind of do what I wanted him to do in that position.
Fair enough.
So I see, for Klopp sees him as an attacker, so he can play out wide on the left or as a number 9. So essentially, you would say those are his best positions, but we haven't kind of seen a final form of him, which is slightly disappointing.
How old is he now? Mid-20s?
Yeah, early 20s, I think.
26?
I think he's 24. I think he's 24.
Yeah, I look at players like Gakpo and I just think, you've made that move now.
24.
I just think it reminds me of Martial, where you're expecting him to be. You're expecting him to
kick on and that's what I asked how old he was. This is the move.
I need I don't know, a drive. I need a drive from
Something like
I'm not saying he's similar players, but he's just going through the motions.
Yeah, I don't see no personality. Yeah,
he looks nervous.
Yeah, on the pitch, there's no personality from him. When I saw him playing in the Netherlands, it's like he thought, "Oh, I'm the best player here. I'm taking responsibility on my shoulders." Now he's gone to Liverpool. He's just like.
But it's weird you say that because he does that for Holland. When he plays for Holland, he's there and thereabouts.
I wouldn't. The World Cup, I didn't see that, to be fair. Because what it was, I remember Arsenal were looking at him.
Yeah.
And then the reports were that, the Arsenal scouts and directors of football looking at him to push him as a centre forward, as a number 9. And LVG said, no, not yet. Stay at PSV?
Yeah.
Stay at PSV, still stay on the wing and then work your way in. And then I saw him in the World Cup and I was like, all right, this guy, I want to see what he's about. Again, that passive nature, just playing, going through the motions, not really taking the game by the scruff of the neck and taking control of it. And I was rather that, and I still want him. Xavi Simmons. I want Arsenal to get him.
Player.
I was looking at him, and even though he was showing more flashes of brilliance when he's coming off the bench for Holland than what I've seen from Gakpo. So
his stock's gone up.
Yeah, I'm not.
But going back to the game, I think Liverpool, that was a big win today.
Yeah,
because if they dropped points today, that would have been 3 games in a row. I possibly would have written them off because that you can't drop points in 3 games in a row at this stage of the season. So I think that's a huge win for them.
And it goes back to what we said last week, the jeopardy. You lose those games last week, you just turn the dial up on everything else for the rest of the season. You can't make any missteps. Every chance you miss, it's all, I'll go as far as to say it's all 20, 30, 40% more important now.
But that's why I think the 2 results, Arsenal away from home, Liverpool, is big, massive results to stay in it because City can drop points.
Yeah.
Like,
can they?
Yeah,
I think they're going to drop points against Tottenham. Sure. Like, I've just got this thing. You got a feeling sometimes.
But I think, is that too late? I don't. Because it's the second to last game of the season.
Because if you win, we win. It doesn't matter. If they drop points,
it could be over by then.
But who else have they got? Because someone in that is in for a title, right?
They
for
got
a European position.
They got Brighton next away from home.
Yeah, Brighton away.
And someone must be avoiding relegation. I'm sure someone's in there.
I think my thing with it all is when I look at a team like Spurs, they're very Jekyll and Hyde as well. And with those guys as well, Ange's plan with the high line and the that either really, really works or you get smoked. So I'm not relying, they're still finding their feet. I'm not relying on that. I just think, especially now that they're out of the Champions League as well. Yeah, man. The smoke is going to be very...
Never say never. Never know.
No, it's true. It's true. I mean, if I look at City's run now, they got Brighton away. Then they have Wolves at home. Stop me when you see points dropping, guys. Who else? Who they got then?
Fulham away.
I know they got Forest, I think.
Then they got...
They got Tottenham away. Then they got Forest. Yeah. And their last game of the season is West Ham at home.
What if you only need them to drop points in one game?
I know.
Like that's
But that's with Arsenal or Liverpool going 100% now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that supercomputer that everyone's angry at is probably
it changes every week, doesn't it?
It's taking it a day. It's in the right direction. So yeah, big win for Liverpool. Kind of again, you in the same position as Arsenal, had to win after that result last week. So let's move on to slightly different problems in the Premier League. Luton 1, Brentford 5. I mean, I know Brentford again, they're a bit inconsistent, but I didn't see this hiding coming, especially with Luton being at home. And Tony wasn't playing either. But sometimes I feel like, I'm going to say it, sometimes I feel like that attack works a bit better when Tony isn't there. And Burma and Wissa,
they linked up well.
They're fluid when he's not there.
They get about the pitch. They're very dynamic. And I'm a big fan of Tony. If Arsenal pick him up, I'll be happy. But it is interesting when he's not there, or when he wasn't there for some period of time, how they move. And I didn't imagine saying that. So some really good goals. Luton, for a period of time, I thought they were gonna make it. But what are we thinking now? Who's going down?
Burnley have kind of put themselves back in the mix. And the thing with Luton, they kind of lure you into a false dawn of like, they're doing it right. They've got a relegation team at home. they go and lose. Like it's quite surprising. But
I mean, off the back of that result, Brentford are 10 points ahead of Luton. So they've climbed themselves.
They're out of it, yeah.
But now Burnley are 2 points behind Luton. Forest are 1 point ahead of Luton. Everton are 4 points ahead of Forest. So they're not out of it, but
I think Everton will be
I
okay.
think Everton will be fine. Yeah, I think it's 2 from 3. It's 2 from Burnley, Forest or Luton.
Yeah, I agree.
And if I look at Luton's fixtures, they've got Wolves away next. They got Everton at home. So again, I think we talked about it last week. You know, you're playing the people around you to affect what's going on. And then they got West Ham away and then Fulham at home. For Luton, that's not the easiest running. I mean, you got to win. You got to beat Everton. I was going to say pick up points, but they got to beat Everton.
Yeah.
But
And
the
Burnley
problem
have got
is-
a tough run-in. Burnley have got Man United away,
You said tough.
Newcastle at home, Tottenham away, and then Nottingham Forest. Yeah, I think Burnley are done.
Yeah, Burnley are gone.
Finished. I mean, but Luton weren't expected to come up. They got there and eventually they warmed up to it eventually. There's been a bit of a redemption arc for Ross Barkley. A couple of players have made a name for themselves. This might be almost the best almost the most positive relegation season of a team I can think about in a long time. You see what I mean?
Especially after the start, innit?
Yeah, especially like Ross Barkley, doing himself well. Do you think he gets a Prem team next season?
It wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
I think maybe a team that's getting promoted from the Championship. But no, look, Luton, they didn't spend too much money, did they?
Nope.
They didn't throw everything at it. Obviously, they probably can't afford to. But I think they've had the Premier League so tough. The fact that they've come up, they've had some good moments. Players might move on. They've proved themselves in this league, but yeah, it's interesting to see if they ever come back up. That's the interesting thing.
And I was going to say, if you're not expecting them, to your point, they haven't spent a lot of money. They will have the money from this season being in the Prem.
Mm-hmm.
I think even bottom 3 teams get 9 figures now, so it's close to 100 million. Parachute payments.
Yeah.
So, and this is where that conversation comes in now, because are you going to make a little bit of a mini monster at Luton now? Probably ahead of time, maybe a bit ahead of schedule, because they're going to get 3 years worth of payments. So maybe they go down and they start snapping up some good Championship players, and it just not messes up with the mix, because that's just probably nice that it's someone like Luton, not the same old Norwich, etc., etc. So yeah, I think it could be positive. I mean, they need a new stadium.
With Luton, I think what you can say is that they've been extremely competitive. I think that's the first time they've been battered. That's the first time they've actually had a big loss. And so they've been, every game, they've lost by a little goal, they've lost by 2 goals, they've been competitive in the game. So yeah, I think they've done brilliant, to be fair. And yeah, it depends on what they do with the money. They, as you say, they need a new stadium. I think they've got planning permission for a new stadium as well. So they may plow it all into there. But the difference between the Championship and the Prem, is it just getting wider? Because we're still looking at a situation now where possibly we're going to have the same 3 that came up go down and the same 3 in the Championship that went down come up. It's going to be, so if we're literally, it's only Ipswich or Nottingham Forest that's going to stop that.
But but if we look back at last season, the season before, 2 teams stayed up and other teams went down. So I would have to look at it over a period of time, I think. You're right about the gap. The gap is huge. And I know there was a conversation on Stick to Football where they were saying shouldn't need a parachute because it shouldn't be a cliff. should be a step down, But the horse was bolted and people don't want to give up their money, bro. How do you reel that? I think it takes 5 to 10 years to start reeling it back in. And basically, I think the Premiership has to put more money down the pyramid, which they don't want to
do.
And then that allows the EFL to distribute, prize money more fairly, etc. But then that just takes time to drip through to the P&Ls and the balance sheets. Plus, people have been getting in debt for years trying to get to the Prem. Yeah. So I might be wrong. It might even be 15 years. You need to do that over a period of time to try and correct some of that.
Just something I was just thinking about, as you were speaking, Daryl, was actually, what about the manager? Are they going to be able to hold on to that manager?
I think he's been really good.
Because you got to look at it. He's made him competitive against the top 6 teams. I think he scored in every game bar 2.
Yep.
Look what he done with Ross Barkley. Even Sambi Lukonga. Remember, he's taken Sambi on loan. And he made Sambi look like, people are like, oh, Sambi might be able to get a stay at Arsenal.
Calm down. But
what I'm saying, that's been the murmurings.
No, it's true. So it's true. And I'll tell you another thing as well. I think he's going to get kudos for adjusting his style. So we've got the other half of the coin where companies like, no, this is what we do, and the players will learn to do that at this level. Whereas he's come in and said, okay, we're going to do it. Oh, that didn't work. All right, guys, we need to try and do this. This is the Prem. So I think he'll get some kudos for that adjustability as well.
He's done well. Like he got harshly treated at Forest Green. And then obviously he's gone into Luton, but he wants to play. He wants to play and get the ball down. But he recognised that, come on, man, I've got to recognise what I need to do to survive. And he's shown now he can do the other side of the game as well. So no, I think him and his assistant Richie Carl, they've done really well. Really well.
And they've done their stop no harm. So even if it's not a Prem team, to your point, a big championship team who's got aspirations to be coming up next season, etc. That might be the next move for him. He's definitely done himself no harm as well. And it'll be interesting to see if any of the players get picked up as well. You know, it's Carlton Morris, Adebayo. Like, there's a few players who've again not done themselves any harm. And again, I don't think it's a failure if they don't get picked up by a Prem team, but you get picked up by a bigger championship team.
The one that's Alfie Doughty. So
he's been really good.
When I was working at Charlton, he was 2 years older. He just used to work on his left foot all the time. But he struggled at Charlton. He struggled when he broke through. Goes to Luton, and now he's having a career now.
He's up and down at left wing.
If you looked at the players they had at that time at Charlton's Academy, you wouldn't say he would be the one that's in the Premier League.
Yeah,
and that's what's so interesting about that transition into first team.
And also, again, I might be reaching too far, but we talked about the manager. To your point, saying, okay, we don't, we want to adjust, etc. Because you don't want to get beaten every week. It's not fun. So you want to give the players some confidence that they can play in this league. They can be competitive. The things you're asking them to do, it does work here. I'm not just talking out my ass. It does work there. You can do it. Yeah. There's almost an element of adjusting and giving them the confidence, because it did take them a little while. It felt like for the first couple of months, they were just like,
what's going on?
Yeah, the captain, the guy who unfortunately collapsed on the pitch. Lockyer. I heard him on a podcast and he's like, no, I'm not going to lie. We went to Old Trafford. And he was like, I'm at Old Trafford, you have to still. And then afterward, they were like, no, we're here to play and do all of that. So yeah, he's someone, you're right, he's raised his profile in the last few months. And again, if you're looking for a left back and you want someone that's got the base, a certain base, he's going to be a lot cheaper than some of the other left backs will cost you right now, So yeah, that's another thing. Again, people pick off their players. It's the next season championship might be tricky. All right, cool. Talking of relegation, Burnley versus Sheffield United. That was a 4-0, 4-1, 4-1. I saw the goals. It's probably the lowest quality 4-1 win I've seen in a while.
Yeah, the first two goals were scrappy, weren't they?
When they do those things on social media where it's like, oh, Sunday League at its finest sometimes. You see the goal come off a man's knee and all of that. Yeah, there was a little bit of that. There was definitely a little bit of that. Poor defending. It was just, there was one, I think Sheffield United's consolation goal was a quality goal. But
they should have been at least 2-0 up though before Burnley scored. They just couldn't take their chances.
At all.
And that's why they are where they are.
But they're getting confidence towards the end of the season. You got to beat the people around you. So it's all well and good taking points, but you're taking points and affecting their chances as well. And I just think Vincent Kompany, if they survive, was he right?
No.
No, but
I know it's hard to say no, but I think if they survive, it's more the fragility of others around them rather than them, to be honest.
No, but I still got the points though.
Yeah, it's not sustainable. Like, if you compare it to Man United over the last 12 months, like, their results are not sustainable in terms of what they want to achieve. I think if he does that again next season, you go down. Like,
are we expecting anything different? Did we expect Burnley to stay up? Or is it because...
No, I didn't, but I think his almost, I don't want to say refusal because this is his job to, but almost the fact that he's been quite open about, we are not going to change our approach. The players will learn to play at this level. it's made him an easy target to say, well, part of one of the skills you need as a manager is to be adaptable, to use the skills you've got. So everyone's talking with the fact that they're going up, but as we just talked, that with the right results, they actually have a very decent chance of staying up. It's almost 50-50. They're only 1 or 2 points behind Luton. So if he stays up, was he right?
Yeah, if you're looking at by the end result,
Yeah,
he's right.
yeah.
But it's like I always praise someone that sticks to how they want to do, because the difficulty is, and if you're a manager and say, look, we're all on I'm the manager, you're the players, and we've played a certain way, and I've told you this is what I believe in.
Yep.
As soon as you change, you're finished.
But
You honestly, you are finished. You have to.
And that's more important than results.
No,
But
go on.
for me, you're going to say the results game, but then we're looking at United. United changed their pattern of play.
I love the reaction that Man United induces now. It's fantastic.
No, but it's to the point where it's embarrassing. Like listening on the way in, Eric Ten Hag was getting called out by all the panelists. Like, what are they doing? What's the squad doing? All the YouTubers that were like, what is he doing? What? A guy. It was. Don't get me wrong. It was emotional and it was a kind of reactive. He was saying, "I'd rather Ollie back in because at least I know we play a certain. Sorry, at least we play a certain way." Now with company, for me, it's all right. Stick to it. We're sticking, and then it's I need these players to complete this. And you remember who he's been under. He's been under Mancini, Pep, Arteta, and Arteta's doing the same thing at Arsenal. Look where we are now. Arteta said, "All right, I'm going to play this way." Yeah, he made certain tweaks, but he's saying, "I'm still doing the inverted." Remember, he started the inverted with Maitland-Niles. And then he said, all right, Maitland-Niles not the level, so I'm going to go back to this at the moment. But he stuck to his guns. And when you look at all the top managers, they stick to their guns. They say, this is the formation we're playing. This is the team. And then when it's the time is right to change it, they change it. So Fergie would say, right, I'm going to make small tweaks here. Wenger made small tweaks there. But they all stick to their philosophy. And I think his thing is, I'm sticking to my philosophy. We are playing the right football. But now it's the personnel. They're not the correct personnel for this fall.
So I think that's
I've got to go out and get them. Or you got to go out and help me get them.
So I think that's a slightly different point. So we'll come back to that. But on your point of, if you say, this is the way we're going to play, this is the way it's going to work, this is what I believe in, and then you change, you lose the players, that's interesting. I think, so. But I guess what I'm trying to probe into is, but if that change brings success, you don't lose the players, do you? Or do you still lose the players, in your opinion?
No. I think, look, if you manage to get results from it,
It depends what the change is.
If you're going from, you're not on build up. In build up, if you're not on every goal kick trying to play sure and give the ball away. If company, I'm sure, has gone longer, and let's go and play from there. But the key principles in terms of how he wants to play, that's it. They just got to be better at it. And unfortunately, you're in the Premier League where you're not gonna have much possession compared to the Championship the way he plays. So you're defensive. He's probably learned a lot more about his team defensively and how to play out of possession. But for him, it's like to play that style of football, you need top players.
Yeah, I agree.
You need
and you know he hasn't.
Yeah.
So
you should be changing it. To answer your question bluntly, even if they stay up, I don't think he was right, because they have taken some real hammerings this season. And the only way they stay up, I don't think they will, but the only way they stay up is because other teams have had points deductions. So unless he's got Mystic Meg crystal ball and knew that was going to happen, they would not have stayed up otherwise. So
I guess it's how you want to go down. Do you want to go? Do you want to go down?
Okay.
Do you want to go down like a Sheffield United?
Yeah, cool.
Just booting it.
Yeah.
Luton, they tried to play, but they changed.
So that goes back to your first question then. If we all agree that the chances of us staying up are minimal, then let's use this season as a development point almost, right? Embed the style, etc.
That makes sense. If you're already concerned that you're going to go down, you might as well play the way you want to play then, rather than
I think it makes sense for
up.
company. But I think if I'm a Burnley shareholder, because let's fast forward 2 or 3 years, he might not even be there.
No, that's what I asked you. Do you think he stays? Even if this season, if they go down?
Yeah.
I don't think they fire him.
Yeah.
I think they keep him.
You think they keep him?
But
Do you
we
think
have to now.
Do you think he stays though, from his point of view, if he gets other options?
And that's what I'm saying, because if there's people that like look at it from your point of view, he gets poached Bruv, I would rather still be in the Prem. So it's if we're in it for the project and company's still going to be there in a cycle of then all of this makes sense. But let's cut to the cold chase of it. A lot of people invest a lot of money. There is let's take Forest out of it because there is some monopoly business over there. I don't want to do it, but there is definitely the longer you can stay in the Prem, it just allows you to build up that kind of buffer and keep going. So if we fast forward 3 or 4 years and he was great, he came in, he's still this type of football and they helped a young manager. If he's off at a team that can give him the resources to play that football at a certain level and you're still swimming around in the championship pool, well, what was the point?
So you'd rather be in the Premier League watching Dashball every week?
No. I think there's more than one way to skin a cat. I'd rather be in the Premier League and then progress from there. And you know my thing already. I've said it many times. You don't have to wait for it to be going down before you chase a manager. So yeah, you keep me in the league with Dashball. You're here for a couple of seasons. Thank you, mate. You've done your part.
But you can't chase.
I know. I agree. You knew what you were buying when you signed,
and that's why they smashed the record. Because the way they played.
Yeah, so I agree. I'm just, I don't know. We'll never know because we don't see those guys operate at this level.
Imagine you're a manager.
Yep.
And you have your philosophy and how you want to play. This might be your only chance, maybe, to play to manage in the Premier League.
Yep.
Imagine if you go down, but you never play the way you wanted to play. In the next 5 years, you would have been thinking, why? You you think of the scenarios in life, you always be thinking, why didn't I go and do what I believed in?
Yeah.
True, but I don't want him to turn into turn into Sam Allardyce.
No, I get that.
But I just think some pragmatism a little bit earlier. Then you're buying more time and then you're buying more, because again, now you're saying about the personnel. I can give you better personnel if we're in the Premier League.
But
because he's going to be in the same situation next season. He goes down, he gets good Burnley players and they'll learn, but then he comes back up and he's not going to have a certain pool to play for.
But don't you think the parachute payments help him to get better quality players?
You're getting better quality Championship players.
Yeah.
You're not getting Premier League players.
But then when you go up, then you can attract certain better players as well. Because you got to remember, some players are attracted to a style of football as well.
Yeah,
true. A manager goes, I want you.
Yeah.
I think you're going to fit my system. And they go, you know what?
I'm pushing on this point.
Because some players will look at it, I'm going to use Burnley as a stepping stone to get to the next level. It works. I think.
Yeah, recruitment.
And I think, look at, we're going to kind of go into back to Arsenal quickly. In terms of their phase, they're saying, we've got a 5-phase plan. How do you know Burnley hasn't sat down with him and said, all right, this is our plan, we'll go up. But you know what? We're not expecting to stay up. If we stay up, it's a bonus. But actually, we're setting the foundation to what we want to play. The youth system's going to be that structure, etc., and we're moving up. And these are the next set of targets that we're going for to help us implement and maintain this style of football.
Okay,
possibly. No, I get that. I guess I just think sometimes, and the reason why I'm pushing this point, my view is I would love for, because he might have tried and still gone down. But at least it's like, you know what? He tried to adapt, etc. But I just know sometimes in football, when we like the individual or we rate them, we romanticize certain things. So that's why I always try to throw the cold light of day in there. They're going to get relegated. They're going to lose a lot of money. So actually, if he wasn't him, these lot killed me about the whole Gary O'Neill and Bournemouth thing. And look now, everyone's won. Yeah. And, I just think sometimes I rate company, but could he... If you're Burnley, for your medium to long-term plan, actually, could some more pragmatism and a better chance to stay in the Premier League actually accelerate that? I think company's fine either way. Because to your point, he's come in the Premier League, he's stuck to his guns, he's given these young players a style of... He's fine. His career has started off well, in my opinion. Even with a relegation, I think he's not done himself any damage, personally, I don't think. So he's cool. But from a Burnley perspective, we'll see. Time will tell. We'll see. Sheffield United... They shouldn't let them come back, man. How many times is that now? Twice? Yeah. You've done yo-yo twice? There needs to be some kind of, I don't know, some kind of rules. All right, moving on. Crystal Palace 5, West Ham 2. West Ham. This is my favourite. These lot. See David Moyes, yeah? If you saw me in the street, I'm almost surprised if he punched me in the face, but what is, I don't understand. What's going on there?
For me, I think it's just the emotions of Europe.
Yeah, that's a Euro
and the size of the squad. And they're like maybe 4 players from being a consistent top 6 team.
You think so? 4?
I said 3 to 4. I said 3. I
Bruv.
said last on. I said 3. So
The manager? No.
I think you got.
I'm
you
asking.
said that.
I'm just
No,
asking.
but you got to look at for me. You got to look at Moyes, and actually, what he's done, he's steadied the ship there, and he's put up a solid foundation down. So for the next manager to come in, he's got something to work with, especially if they keep Bowen, Paqueta, Kud.
Yeah, no. All
And
just
so-
said about Moyes, like he's done well in second spell here. I just think if you look at the top 6 and the way football's progressing and the football you have to play to punch at that level, is that the football that David Moyes wants to play, has shown us he can play?
But you said there's more than one way to skin a cat. He doesn't have to play like everyone else is playing. I think Moyes has done a great job. I think he's getting the most out of that squad.
Same.
Because look at the other day. They were close to beating Leverkusen. They were close to knocking them out.
No, they were close.
And Leverkusen have not lost the game all season. And literally, they took that tie to the 90th minute of the second leg. And it
Fair enough.
was literally close who was going to go through. Today, that's a Euro hangover for me. I think that's just the Thursday, Sunday. We've had a big downer on the Thursday night. They probably wasn't ready to play today. But if you look at where they are in the league, they're
they're
right
eighth.
there.
Yeah, no,
yeah,
they're
exactly
eighth.
where you expect them to be.
You know,
So,
the team is had to put out today. Mr. Antonio, if I was at City, I would get 30 goals up front. Paqueta on the left, Ward-Prowse, Kudus. They've invested. They've given them players. How everyone let Kudus end up at West Ham under their radar, bro.
Wow.
I don't know. Criminal. That should be the drop-off for Saka, yeah? He should be pushing Saka saying, what's happening? Alvarez, he's been a decent,
Yeah.
quietly going back.
So you can say that Moyes has got good talent ID. If you look at the last few players that he's bought, they've all been good. Paqueta, Kudus, Alvarez.
Bro, I'm just asking the questions here, man.
Even a Ward-Prowse.
Yeah.
That's a good Premier League player.
They're 8th in the league. That's,
Yeah.
That's West Ham, innit?
I done it. Maybe a good cup run. But that's
So he's
about
earned
it.
another. He's got contract talks. Should they give him another contract?
For me, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The grass ain't always greener, man. I think
Well, they've
those,
done that already, didn't they?
I think those West Ham fans are gonna be in with a shock if he goes. Like, it's all well and good wanting a style of football. Give me Dyche, Allardyce ball. If I win the league with Liverpool, I don't care.
No,
I don't
it's like,
care.
no,
I don't
I'm not-
care. how it's
I'm not
played.
interested.
No,
But
that.
why?
That's
but
the
why
extreme.
though?
That's the extreme.
Because I like-
but it's a results game, innit?
Yeah.
Like, if I said to you,
No.
you had to watch stinky football
Yeah.
for 8 months, but you're going to win the league, are you going to be like, no, I want to be entertained? Give me the league. Like, I don't understand it. Don't matter how you play, get the 3 points.
I can understand your view. You've only experienced within the league once, you know, but
Unnecessary leagues. That's fine. We can
Premier League, one Premier League.
Well,
No,
it's irrelevant.
I think if you said to me now, obviously it's been 20 years, whatever, Arteta's going to have a personality transplant and we're going to be hoofing up the ball to Havertz every week and we're going to win the Premier League, I'd probably take that off you for one season. But in reality, I'll be honest, maybe I'm spoiled. I don't want to see my team play that football.
This is a new thing.
It's not a new thing. Wenger, our team was playing banging football back then.
But fans weren't demanding this style of play. Like, I'm not saying like playing attractive football is a new thing, because that's always happened.
Yeah.
But fans of other teams saying, oh, well, why can't we do that? Not
Well,
everyone can do that. And you've got to be in the realms. You got to have everything in place. The manager, the personnel, as we discussed, to do that. If you haven't
It's
got all
everyone's
that,
job to get there, though. That's what I'm asking. That's everyone's job to get there.
That type of football, no, I don't think any top team will want that football.
Yeah.
That's why they haven't got them jobs.
Yeah.
In terms of...
Well, I don't think you can win anything. Otherwise, the team would have won something with that football.
Yeah, I just think the level of footballer wants something different at that that level.
yeah. No, I totally agree with that. I'm just saying, me as a fan, I don't care how you get the 3 points.
Yeah.
Just get them in it.
Yeah.
Fair. But
My weekend's calm, in it.
Nah, I'm sorry. And I think also, rightly or wrongly, you know, you start getting towards that end of the game and the table, things, you know, you're buying more expensive players, your experience as a fan gets more expensive, etc. They're not coming there to see the keeper hoof it up front. And don't get me wrong, the actual style of football, I'm not, you know, you hear fans talking about we want to play this football. If you ask them to describe that style of football, they can't tell you. Yeah. All they know is passing that from the back. But all of these different managers have various different styles. So I'm not prescribing what that should be. I just want to enjoy what I'm watching. And I don't enjoy that. Like, sometimes I watch League One games and I'm like, what's going on? What's happening here? So That's why. But the real reason I asked about Moyes is because, to your point, when you start getting higher towards the table, like top 6, 7, it's no coincidence that they all play, a certain style of football. Not all the same. Andrew's style is different to Arteta's and to whatever else. And he tried to change up his style. It didn't work for him.
Yeah.
He went back to his more physical, direct, hit the channels, as I call it, and that's worked for him. Do you think that it's just the extra players and he can start knocking and be regular in top 6? Or actually, he's going to have to evolve his game a little bit? That's the point I'm making. And he's been managing for however long. He tried to evolve his game once. We saw that it didn't work. Or are you saying if he evolves his game and has the right players, then it can work?
But I'm going to go back to Everton a little bit with him, because at Everton, he made him really competitive. They flirted with Europe quite consistently, actually, before he got the move to United.
They made Champions
They
League.
got
They made-
Champions League.
yeah,
They
Champions
finished fourth.
When?
But then he's come.
Okay, we're going back 20
Yeah.
years.
And we are going back 10 years, but what I'm saying, he's got it in him, because then he's gone to West Ham. He done the job. They got rid of him. He's stable. Remember, he
Yeah, he
steadied
kept
the
them up.
ship.
Yeah.
He steadied them. Then they got rid of him, and then they realized that was a mistake, and they brought him back in. And then what did he go and win?
The Conference League.
So he's showing he's got the credentials
Mm.
and the tactics to get you through that stage. But what I'm saying is, for him, is setting the foundation for West Ham now.
Mm.
1 more season, maybe 2 more seasons, and the next manager coming in, because they're spotting the right talent and they're putting him in. It's just the next manager to build. Because look at Bowen now. Bowen now, a lot of the top
Really
6,
good
they
player.
were sniffing around him before when he was at Hull. West Ham took the gamble. Bowen, 3 seasons with double figures?
And I'm just asking this question because if you're on the board, they've had an investor just join recently, put a lot of money in it. Before you give a man another 2 or 3 year contract, these are the arguments we're going to be having, kind of. So how do we get up here? So that's why I'm asking. I'm
I
posing the
think they
question.
got the right manager. I don't see a manager coming in and doing better with the squad. I think he's got them where they should be.
Mm.
I think it's personnel. If you give him a few more players, look what they're doing. And up front, they've got Antonio. Imagine they had someone better up there. They would be, if
Yeah,
they're
we
8th
said
now, they'll be 6th.
Mm.
And you-
Because how many goals is Antonio getting you? Not many.
And if you look at Kudus and Paquetá,
Yeah.
they haven't kind of dropped off playing his football. innit?
Yeah,
They're still
true.
No.
excelling.
Yeah,
to
they helped
like
him
a
change it a
high-
little bit,
high-
didn't they?
high
Yeah,
level.
they've changed it a
But
little
if
bit.
you give him
Mm.
players of that ilk
Mm. Mm.
more across the team, like,
Yeah.
I think like they need a number 9. I think
Fair.
they need
Yeah.
maybe a couple centre backs,
Mm.
right back. So the 4 players that you said, Adrian, if they're of that level, then I think Moyes could do something. And yeah, the grass is
could.
always greener.
I think you guys are more optimistic than me.
Yeah,
But he could.
I just think he's just done a good job.
I agree. No, but I'm talking about progression now.
I don't.
That's what.
Look
That's
at the teams that are above him.
No, I know, but-
they got to spend 200 million.
yeah.
200 million to get to.
Yeah.
How much is a top striker? Who can you get? Solanke? Would he move to West Ham? Would
They've bought a few and players that have gone on to other clubs and done well. Like
Rice? They lost Rice.
Yeah.
They lost Rice.
That's a fantastic
and
question because Solanke, I think it is a West Ham type club move for you now. You're not going straight back up to them, man.
Yeah.
Maybe Spurs rings your phone,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
maybe. So,
Yeah, Solanke
okay,
would be a good-
interesting one. I think I don't always agree with fans and their views because West Ham fans have always heard about, attractive football, etc., etc. You can argue that football didn't win you much in those days. It'll be interesting to see what happens with his contract. And you're right; they'll probably scan the market and look. But I think he's going to get it. I think he's going to get it. Maybe the length, maybe it'll be a 2-year, and then they had that thing with him and the director of football. But I think he's won that battle. It seems like. But hey, what do I know? I've never run a football club in it. But I think if they're being smart or they wanted to go like a Villa route now.
Yeah.
That's the other kind of club I think that's actually gone in that direction, taking that route. I'm not sure they do that without changing manager. Personally.
I don't think they would.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So if that's the case, then why am I giving you a 3-year contract now then?
Right, because you've seen what's happened when you sack a manager like Moyes.
Yeah, but
closer to relegation.
who was Villa's manager before?
Yeah, that was a
Exactly.
bad
It makes a big difference. It makes a big difference.
Yeah, true.
Hey, just a quick word on Palace.
Yes.
They're a totally different side when they got the 2 wingers fit.
Ah, man.
Totally
I was just
different.
about to come on to that.
Totally
I think
different
it's
side.
only 3 or 4 times they played together. this
Yeah.
season.
Oh, it's just like chalk and cheese.
And you look at the back four and they're just in problems.
Yeah.
Because, Eze is just moving laterally left to right, left to right. And Elise, he doesn't do much fancy stuff, but he does it.
He did today.
No, but as in, he's not best, you know, and he does the simple things, but he does them so consistently and at such pace. Bro, you know what he's going to do, but you can't do anything about it.
Yeah, if you're a Palace fan, you're enjoying watching them.
Yeah.
That's what it's about. You're not going to win everything, are you?
Yeah.
They're not going to win the league, but...
And they make the other ones better. The ones around him, like Mateta and AU, and they're not great players. But when them two are on song, they step up as well. They start performing.
Mateta did a finish today. I did not know how he had in his locker. I'm not gonna lie. That near post one, 4 months ago, he's not doing anything with that. So, credit to the manager. He seems to be
he started off really well. He's been impressive as well.
But when you got a squad that size, you need your stars fit more times.
That's the one thing that's been disappointed. Them two not been fit enough.
Yeah. I mean, how much longer do they keep them? I know it's a age-old question.
They could go this summer.
Yeah, I think so.
They could go that.
Both or one?
Both.
I think that at least a new contract was asset, protection.
Yeah,
that was
same with Eze.
Yeah. Did he get a new contract this season?
I think there's more
it was
chance.
last year.
Yeah, there you go.
I think there's more chance Eze goes.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Because Elise's had a lot of injuries as well, so people might think...
It might even be a trigger. If he goes, then I don't want to be the next Zaha.
I don't know if he's got a clause in
I don't want to
his
be the next Zaha, mate. So if he goes, I don't want to be an island by myself. Maybe I'll go. But again, it'd be interesting to see where they'd land. I've got this irrational thing about I'd love to see them go abroad. I don't think enough English players go abroad. I think it does them well. But we'll see. So yeah, shout out to Palace. Can this finally now be okay? Got a new manager in. He's gonna get a whole preseason with them. Get his own players. Can they just stop this? Get a top 10 finish, move on, go back to kind of where Vieira got them to, and then push on from there, possibly.
Well, if they lose two players, then they can't.
Well, and they got to keep them.
They're looking at.
Or you got
to being.
Well, you go and find your next.
Battlers.
Go and find your next. Eze and Elise. They bought my man from Blackburn, who at the time I was cussing. But he's what a signing, 20 million.
Very good.
So fair play. All right, quickly on the last two games: Everton 2, Forest 0.
Travesty, robbed.
Yeah. So
well, they call this the profit and sustainability derby.
So look, we're not gonna mess around with the result. Everton 2, Forest 0. Let's just get to the chase. Forest are clearly unhappy about some of the officiating in this game, to the point where we've seen a pretty unprecedented tweet from the official account. I had to check. I clicked on it, checked the tick.
Gold tick, innit?
Mate.
Super verified.
Yeah, that's not a direct debit tick. That one, bro. That was serious stuff, and I want to read it. I'm gonna read it word for word because I still can't believe, and I've got a theory as to why that could even reach out. But they've essentially questioned the integrity of VAR. So the 3 extremely poor decisions, 3 penalties not given, which we simply cannot accept. We warned the Pgmol that the VAR is a Luton fan before the game, but they didn't change him. Our patient has been tested multiple times. We will now consider our options. I don't know what you lot think this is. I mean, I'm in shock.
It's not even a club. It's not even a statement. With a corner flag. It's a tweet.
There's normally a link to the website, innit?
But the worst thing about it, no one from the press team's come out and said, "Oh, sorry, that was wrongfully tweeted. We're going to investigate that tweet." Nope.
That was drafted mid-game. They didn't hit send when the game finished.
I was all quick to blame maybe a young, over enthusiastic social media manager, but actually, I think you made the point. It wouldn't be surprised if that was straight from the owner's notes. He's not shy of saying a word or two. And we had a lot of debate here early in the season with the whole Liverpool, when Liverpool kind of came out publicly and said they might take action, etc. Daz is a member of the referees union, so it doesn't take those things kindly. And I was arguing at that point, but Forrest, you've done me dirty today because that's not right. We can't have official fan accounts saying stuff like that. Leave that for Sky and BT and fans to talk about on podcasts. But I don't know. The FA, someone's got to do something. They're going to get hit hard, surely. bringing the game into disrepute and all of that business.
And then is it like an agenda against Clattenburg as well? You know, because he's
the referee
consultant.
Yeah.
I rate that guy, you know. What job is that? What is he doing there?
Calling up those 3 penalties.
Yeah, that's
and saying
true.
that they should have been given.
Not telling them that the referee's a Luton fan. That's
Yeah. Giving them inside info.
Yeah.
So I was gonna say, how do you know?
Yeah,
How do you know?
he probably knows him, innit? But knows he's a Luton fan.
I think it's fine tweeting that you're unhappy about the decision and you want to speak to the Pgmol, but questioning, like we said, the integrity of the VAR official, because he's a Luton fan, he might be like there were 3 decisions. I think it was handball against Ashley Young
And a penalty.
and a penalty. I think one of the tackles, yes, maybe.
So what? The admin's right then?
Yeah.
Oh.
But that doesn't matter though.
No, that doesn't matter, yeah.
I said, yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't
No,
matter.
sorry. It doesn't matter to the point I'm making about they can't be tweeting.
No, you're right. You can't be. You can't be.
I like the first bit though. Like, well, do I though? No, that's just let the manager do
Just
that
don't do it.
post
You just
game.
don't do it.
Yeah,
Just
official
don't do
fan account, official club account. Don't do that because then now fans. It's already bad enough as it is.
Probably got loads of followers from it.
Yeah, and then now fans are gonna take that.
But I think it was done to cause the traction in it, like because everyone could be talking about it now. Like Carragher and Neville were talking about it while they were presenting about the other games.
Yeah.
So yeah, like they want the notoriety of it. So
And Howard Webb is apologising tomorrow as well.
yeah,
You know he's going to apologise on behalf.
Good.
Yeah.
27 million views.
Wow.
27 million.
Views.
They tweeted it 2 hours ago.
How
Wow.
many followers have they got?
They're
Or
on-
nothing like that.
They're on 668,000.
Nottingham Forest.
Wow.
yeah.
Well, I mean, to your point, if it's that calculated, pretty clever. It's gonna get them in a bit of trouble. But I just don't want to see us go down this road where official accounts are.
Yeah, it's not necessary.
Yeah, proper channels in it.
From
Let's
a
not be doing
referee point of view, this was a can of worms that was opened at the beginning of the season when a certain club done the
He's
statement
right.
on.
He's not.
It is
He's
because
right.
No.
we've never seen it before, and then since they done it, then Arsenal did it, and then now Nottingham Forest are doing it.
Yeah.
Well, I think Wolves done it as well.
Whilst
So
I
that-
was okay with Liverpool and Arsenal doing what they were doing, Daz is right, man.
It's,
I think
it's
that's
all this. Everyone now is just taking it a step further. When's it going to stop?
No, but-
And the thing is, saying he's a Luton fan, why would a Luton fan be? How is that relevant? Because why is the Luton fan going to do Nottingham Forest bad instead of Everton? I don't get that because they're all in the same
because
point.
Forest is closer to Luton.
1 point is 1 point difference.
Yeah, Everton's 5 points ahead. So
No, it's 1 point between before today's game. It was 1 point difference
Oh,
between
yeah,
Everton
true.
and Nottingham Forest. So
yeah,
either of that, why would he be?
that's
Why
true.
would he want Forest to lose more than Everton when they're basically in the same position?
Yeah, he.
So I don't understand
I
why
totally
they
get that.
even mentioned that.
And like I said, I think the whole Luton aspect of the tweet should have been taken out. But going back to the point about Liverpool and Arsenal earlier in the season, it got to a point where things were so bad, like a bigger noise had to be made. Because what you said, last season, Arsenal had 3 decisions go against them, and it was like, oh, okay. Like that's literally what happened. Well, now teams are like, well, no, the standard needs to be raised. We need to make a big noise, and we've seen certain actions come into place over the season to eliminate things going wrong.
And you feel that's only because of these tweets, or that's helped?
Oh yeah, it's helped.
But
Like,
isn't it? We've got official channels. The
I think
people
it's
that are going to make
dangerous.
the changes are being notified by the official channels. It's not. They're telling all of us that we're not the people to make the change.
But we can't deny that the court of public opinion, whether we like it or not, it adds pressure to the
This is
official
it.
channels. I don't like the way it's going, but it adds pressure. And unfortunately, especially here, the FA, the Premier League, these organisations have shown themselves many times. The only thing sometimes they react to is the outside pressure. It is getting hammered on Sky. It is getting hammered on Twitter. It is the press getting on them, which is not right. And I think it's getting dangerous now. They need to slap Forest
So,
hard
Can I
and
ask?
then fix it as well.
Can I ask why they only do this with referees then? So when one of their players makes a mistake and that, they don't go tweeting about them to to put more pressure on them?
Nah, see,
Why is it on the
referees,
referees?
bruv.
Why is it on so why is it
Because
referees?
players
When managers make bad decisions, so everyone else is allowed to make
Nah,
mistakes
bro.
except for the referees.
A red and yellow card out of his pocket.
No,
like.
but I'm just asking a question.
Okay,
What's
so
You
going
don't
answer
do
your
that.
question.
You don't do it with anyone else in football. Is allowed to make a mistake. But when the referee makes a mistake, oh no, that can't. That's unacceptable.
They have different jeopardy though, right? So as a player, I might not play next game. I can get fined. I can get sent up. The whole
But the
point.
same thing happens to referees. They don't get played the next game. Next
Well,
week, he probably ain't going to be on a game next week.
Yeah, one game. This is people's livelihoods here, bro.
But you see, a player could get sent off. He's going to miss one game.
No, I hear you. No, it's true. I think it's going down a dangerous road. And fans are going to take this and run with it now. And when the club official is talking like that, it just lowers the tone for the rest of the keyboard warriors. So yeah, Forest, that's not good, man. It's no way. It's not direction we need to be going in. It was funny, but
It's a bit,
not good.
and we're going to get more and more. Unless they, I don't know how you put it into it.
I think I won't be surprised if we get one of those statements from the Premier League. There's going to be some kind of new code of conduct.
They will do that in the new
update.
season. They can bring that. They'll bring that in.
Communications, something and all that. There'll probably be some of that. But Howard, sort it out, mate. Sort it out. And then lastly, Villa 2, Bournemouth 0.
No.
3-1.
3-1.
3-1.
Bruv. Oh, sorry, I was looking at the wrong game. Yeah, Villa 3, Bournemouth 1. It looks like Villa they're not gonna choke. They're gonna march on to that Champions League place. Couple of good goals. What's the name of that youngster? Rodgers. Yeah, he doesn't look young though. Flipping, the guy's a unit.
He's done well, to be fair.
Yeah.
He came from City's academy. I think they bought him from. I can't remember who they bought him from when he was younger. But he's done well because he went on loan, did okay.
Yeah,
but yeah, he's done really
is that's not? Is that just him being selected, or is there injury issue at Villa, or is it just Emery just throwing him in because you're doing well?
I'm not sure.
Because that's what I like to
He's
see.
playing left back, isn't he? He's playing left back, so Luca Dean might be out of favour.
And Moreno as well.
Yeah, so yeah.
But those are the ones I like to see. Like, people are here, but you know what? You give it
Ramsey
just...
got picked up an injury as well.
Yeah,
He was doing really well.
yeah. Apparently, they might have to sell him because of PSR, so they say. Ramsey, yeah. But he scored a really good goal today, that youngster. Yeah.
So you think that fifth position's over?
Fifth, I think it's done.
It's done.
Both teams out of the Champions League.
No, in terms of Tottenham,
Villa and
Villa,
Tottenham.
yeah. Because it's 6 points and Tottenham got 2 games in hand.
It's
I
Tottenham.
think we just got.
But Tottenham have got
Arsenal,
Liverpool,
Man United.
Arsenal and
Yeah, the 2 games in
Man
hand
City.
is Chelsea and Man City.
Yeah, and they got to play.
And-
Chelsea have got to play Tottenham.
Yeah, that's one of their games in hand.
And Liverpool.
Arsenal and Man City. Yeah.
bro.
Hold that.
Yeah, exactly. I don't see it happening. So, and then that's when you start getting into interesting permutations, because so now for Tottenham to get fourth, they basically have to mash up the title race.
Yeah.
Basically, they have to really have a real significant influence on the title race for them to get top 4. Obviously, as an Arsenal fan,
Or Villa
them
fall off the cliff.
Yeah, or Villa fall off a cliff, which
And
is not.
Yeah.
They've been Jekyll and Hyde a little bit this season.
And they got the semi-final of the Europe as well to take
Yeah,
into
true.
consideration.
Yeah, it's true.
So that's
True.
2 legs.
True, he's been doing a little bit of rotation where he can. Like McGinn's ever stay, but Bailey and Diaby and etc. etc.
He's
So
been
he's been
able, because the Conference League, he's able to.
Yeah,
It's just not
exactly.
the level's not really there.
Exactly. So good result for them. They march on. So yeah, that's been the Premier League. We'll quickly touch on the FA Cup. Manchester United versus Coventry.
Got away with it again.
Again. What is Ten Hag doing? Like, seriously, he has got some serious luck on his side. That guy was offside by his toenail, literally.
So close.
For those who haven't seen, it was 3-3 extra time. Coventry go through in 100. I think it was 121st minute.
Yeah, literally
Time
30
score.
seconds.
Absolute jubilation from everybody apart from Man United fans, and they drew the lines. The lines were basically blurring each other, and it was offside. It was unreal. That's the kind of chance the Wenger's new law would have seen them through, and then Manchester United win 4-2 on penalties. Again, kind of thinking of the bigger picture. Erik ten Hag, he goes through and wins this cup. Does he keep his job?
No, he shouldn't.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
I knew.
Not for me.
No.
I always say, like, if you're working at a pro club and you're training every day, you train every day. You should see something. You should see, even if it's terrible. Even if it's terrible. But I don't understand. It frustrates me. It frustrates me watching them.
It's crazy.
Because I don't understand
what's happening.
How they're trying to win a football match.
Yeah.
Did you hear what he said? He said, since he's been there, he's only been allowed to select his best 11 once. I was like, what?
Nah.
Like, and the things he says in press conferences don't help him.
Yeah.
Like, everyone can see they played pretty bad. Oh, yeah, we played well. We were unlucky. Oh, yeah, injuries. But, like, you're dealt pretty much the same hand as everyone else.
Yeah.
Adapt, utilise, do what you've got to do. And, yeah, he made up too many excuses. And, yeah, as you said, like, win or lose the cup, I think his time is up.
Yeah, that directness he does in the communications, and that's in public. I can only imagine what he's like with the players behind the scenes. We've seen his man management. I don't want to say it's good or bad, but it hasn't had optimal results on more than one occasion, 3 or 4 times. You were able to pick or have real influence on the players that have come in. Most of them are overpriced or not. He's got to go. And as I said to Daz earlier, if you're Ratcliffe and co, this is a new start. I've invested a lot of money. Can I trust you with my investment? No, not based on what I've seen since I've been there or the last season and a half. I think he's got to go. Yeah.
And like I say, they've made all the backroom changes. I don't think it's worth doing that and keeping Ten Hag then. They have a conversation, get the man in that they want.
Yeah, because they've done, the CEO, Ashworth apparently is on garden leave, on his way. And then they announced Wilcox yesterday or on Friday. Yeah. So they're trying to do all the right things, but Manchester United, another.
I don't know how do you let a championship team come back from 3-0 up?
Unreal.
A championship team coming back to 3-3.
And that's why I have a little bit of sympathy for him, because at some point, players, what are you lot doing?
Yeah, they don't run for him. I was disappointed with Coventry in that first half because it's the first time I've seen Manchester United dominate possession. Like Maguire was up, like Wan-Bissaka didn't know what he was doing. Like he was popping up in midfield. Dalot did okay, but I was thinking, just you need to go get after him. And then look what happened.
Second half,
and they played better football.
They deserved to win.
Had the more. They had the style.
They deserved to win.
Shouldn't happen.
Yeah,
But I think it was the whole Wembley. Oh my God, this is our big day out.
Yeah.
We're under a bit stuck in the lights.
I think that was the manager.
Yeah,
he was
and I think
cautious.
they realised halfway through, these men ain't that good.
Oh dear. All right, and then other semi-final, we've got City and Chelsea.
Oh man.
The story
My
City went through 1-0. Silva getting over his Champions League hangover. But the main story here is all the chances that Chelsea missed.
But what I would say though, the penalty given today, I think was less of a penalty than what wasn't given yesterday.
Yeah.
And that's the consistency thing we've spoken about with referees and VAR, etc.
Which you can only get to a certain level too when it comes to humans being involved, right?
Yeah.
But go on, Daz. Nicholas Jackson, go on.
Oh. I don't know. When he going through on goal, I don't know what he's thinking. What is he? He makes the wrong decision every single time. Like, he never looks like he's going to score. And some of the decisions, I'm just like, what was you thinking? What was your thought process here?
He strikes me as he's not confident in those situations. Like I think he's got good movement. I think he makes good runs. First season in the Prem is learning. He does the hard things well, but the easy things are not as consistent. And then he just gets in certain positions, and he doesn't look confident. So then I'm not confident he's gonna execute. He reminds me a little bit of, when Raheem Sterling was going through that phase of Man City, and even if it was a tap on the line, we still weren't sure he was gonna score. It's a little bit like that, and I don't know if that's something that comes with time. And we talk about almost the same about the Darwin Núñez, and so I do feel sorry for him now, because now it's becoming one of those narratives. Now it's becoming a thing. He'll be seeing about it, reading about it, hearing about it, and I always ask the question: is it that bad?
What, Jackson?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's really poor. Finishing. no,
Finishing wise.
finishing wise.
Yeah.
Like the other side of his game, he can impact the game, but he just didn't look comfortable 1-on-1. He was like, I don't want to be in this position. Like he should have just taken it on his right foot and just passed it instead. But then it's like the goal he scored against Everton was a brilliant goal, but not expect it. Like,
it's like, right, did he do that?
Like, did he pull that out?
I don't know if he expected it.
Yeah, he's just for me. He's a striker. You go back to Arsenal, and you're looking at players that can come on. He's a player that comes on, or when you want to rest the main striker, he's not the main guy.
But do we think because Nkunku got injured, Jackson was meant to be the backup?
Yeah, possibly.
And then he's kind of been thrust into
Yeah.
limelight. I would love to see his scouting tape, like what they saw to be like, he's the guy we're spending this money on. Because
he was
I
definitely.
doubt he's replicated. He hasn't replicated anything.
But he got goals for Villarreal. He did have a decent record.
Yeah,
he had goals, but
it was definitely a purchase where if he comes here, we can build on what he's got.
Nurture him.
Yeah.
I think he's just been thrusted into the limelight.
He's improved, like from when he first came.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the fans were on him. They were not. So for him to come back and actually feel comfortable in a Chelsea shirt is good to see. But you don't want to rely on him being the main number 9 at that club.
I think if they've got headroom, they're in the market for a striker. Surely.
And they got rid of the was it Bojan as well? They got
Yeah,
rid of him?
where did he go?
And Fofana.
No,
yeah,
he's on loan.
But I think it was to do with profit and sustainability. They had to get rid of him. But so that's even put even more pressure on Jackson because he's the only one there.
Got rid of who?
Bojan.
He's on loan.
He's on loan.
No, I mean,
Yeah, he's out of the club.
But even Fofana at Burnley. He's
He's a decent player.
Like, you think why couldn't he give him a run for his money, innit? So.
Oh well, all right. Well, so that's sort of all the football. Let's tell our thoughts to you. I guess for those that don't know, can you just give us a brief sort of summary of what you do, what your platform is? I think I said earlier, it'll be good for people to really understand the breadth of what it is you do. It's not just an Instagram account,
I started the account. The first account was in 2018. It got taken down after 40,000. I had 40,000 followers.
Why? Do you know?
Copyright.
Oh, really?
Yeah, copyright.
Is that from the clips that you were
Yeah, so that's why there's a one at the end of it. But I started in 2018. My background's coaching. So I coach football. I was at Charlton Academy, and then I went to England for a year under a program. And my age group that I worked with had Bellingham, Musiala, Harvey Elliott, Levi Colwell.
Cool.
So it was a great opportunity to go and coach and develop there. But it was a year's program, and I didn't have a job after. So I was like, I lent on Jude, Jamal, said, look, I'm going to create this account. Can you just
help me out?
Repost it and share it. So they did that. But then I went to Brighton full time. So the account kind of went on the back burner.
Yeah, okay.
It was more, but then kept on just growing it. Didn't put no players at Brighton would be sending me stuff to put up, but I never put anything up. They didn't know until I left that I told them that I was running the account. They were like, why did you not tell me? I said, if you knew, I would have been gone.
Yeah.
Because Brighton are very much, they want to just do things that proper. But I'll tell you one story. I was in like a general meeting, reviewing of Brighton's season and their targets. And then Dan Ashworth's doing a presentation. And I've done a post about Brighton having the most top young players percentage in the Premier League. And then bang, and in front of everyone on the screen is the secret scout. And I'm like, nah, I don't need, this is too close to home. He's like...
But it's easy as like a proof point to say, yes, we recognise. I was trying, wow.
So
that must have been a nice validation moment.
I didn't feel it at the time.
Your heart was beating.
This is too close
People was
to
going to
home.
turn to be like, we know it's
I was just like, but no, like there's been little moments like that where it's been too close to home. But yeah, I left Brighton and went to Crawley as a coach. And that when I talk about style,
Mm.
like, I went with Kevin Betsy, who used to be a coach
Oh,
at
yeah.
Arsenal.
Yeah.
So I worked with him at England. He brought me to Crawley as a coach, and then that was a baptism of fire, understanding like the way we wanted to play, and recognizing we can't do that.
Yeah. They ain't got it.
But in enjoying it, like they knew, and the account was growing, and then a lot of agents would be wanting for me to post their players up, but also give me news. And then literally it's just the transfers. So like Fabrizio never really, I get on with him well, but he never really touched youth transfers. But then like he saw this account start to grow in, and then we used to collab. We would be collabing, but now he's doing something else with another platform, Rising Ballers, which they're amazing. But the account's grown, and like I broke the Elise. So the Elise to Crystal Palace. So one of the agents messaged me, said his player has seen Elise in having a medical at Crystal Palace training ground. So I'm like, because it's about, reputation and you don't want to put stuff out, like, are you sure? I called him, I said, are you sure? He said, like, he is there. So I'm gone, okay. I posted it, and then everyone's saying, who's this? You're chatting rubbish, and getting pelters. And then the Athletic, and they've not heard anything. It's been 5 hours. No one's heard anything. And then, bam, it comes out. And then everyone's like, the followers just went up and up.
Is it?
Wow.
I think that's what you needed, like, kind of a vindication moment.
That one was like, it was boom. And then everyone was like,
and there's a bit of a trickle over, like, it could be trickle up. And then once you get to a certain point, people go on pages, he's got X amount of followers, I'll follow. He's got, and it kind of carries you through at that point, doesn't it? It snowballs from there.
The other one where I was like, I couldn't sleep because, again, it's reputation. So a guy that I've known for a while, he calls me at like 11 o'clock, and then he says, the Enzo's we've just done the deal. I said, what do you mean we've just done the deal?
Who's we?
Yeah, he says, he's helped broke it with another guy. They were in a taxi. He was like, you can put it out that it's a done deal. I said, no, I can't do that. I cannot put that out. It's a done deal because Fabrizio's on his, he does the transfer.
Yeah.
And he's like, there's nothing. I did it an hour before he put it out. I went, boom, Enzo Fernandez to Chelsea, done deal. And literally, it just went crazy. I'm laying in bed with my missus. She's like, what's wrong with you? I said, I can't sleep. I can't
tomorrow
sleep.
I might not have an account.
People were messaging me. He said, your reputation's on the line. If this is not true, we're coming to find you.
Wow. Mad.
They were coming to find you. And I was sweating. I was like, man. I woke up and then I see it done. I was like, Fabrizio done it like an hour later. And then everyone. And then, from there,
But that's more the transfer side. I think how I came across your account was more talking about youth football, highlighting youth players, talking about certain approaches to youth football, some that are not helpful, not calling out some of the things like some of the social media stuff. And so it was more that side actually than the transfers. So at the moment, when you're highlighting players, are people using you as a scout because of your network and where you've been, etc.?
So behind, I'm a consultancy with agencies and with clubs. So basically I've created my own kind of environment where, if clubs are looking for a left back or right back at youth level, they'll come to me and say, look, is there anyone? If there's players abroad, I help broker the deal. So that's the main, in terms of the income, that's obviously the branding isn't there as yet because obviously I'm not a face to it. But it's more about highlighting players.
So I guess from a club's point of view, that's good that there's someone that they can trust, got the inside network. Is there a danger now, parents who think their son's the second coming of Messi?
You see it all the time.
We start hollering straight at you, post him and...
No, but do you know what? I get a lot from parents where their son has been released and then they want me to come and help them. And I think that those are nice moments where I can try and put them in. There was a boy that got released from Aston Villa, and managed to get him into Sheffield Wednesday. He got a 2-year scholarship.
Nice.
So those things I'm more proud of because you're given an opportunity, but it can become tough because you're getting so many messages like requests and It's like I look at them, they send me like their clips, but I always look at the full games because anyone can look good in clips.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the more rewarding side of it when you're working with the players.
So when it comes to youth setups now, what is your thoughts on the current state of that sort of the academy setup and the youth setup in the country today, or even in football full stop, kind of at the top level? What are your thoughts around it? You know, what kind of state do you think it's in?
What in England?
Yeah,
The academy system's easily one of the best in the world now.
Okay,
You know, in terms of the environment that they're providing the boys, the level of detail and coaching and tactical understanding. You look at our youth teams whenever they go abroad, whether it's England, whether it's Chelsea, Man City, Liverpool, Arsenal, like they're at the forefront. They're at the forefront of the players being the best.
And is that the side of the Premier League money that people don't talk about, right? Because that money's dripped, it's kind of trickled through, allowed them to build certain facilities, etc.
Yeah, and I go back to like the recruitment and understanding what a player is. Certain players now they're getting pushed. They're getting pushed more.
Yeah.
Whereas before, maybe certain other guys were the main ones. So now like Eze's, Elise's, like Elise got released a few times. Millwall. I remember he went on Bristol on I think he went Bristol and Middlesbrough on trial.
Yeah, he done an interview this week actually,
Okay.
and he said you listen all the times where it didn't quite work out for him until he got to QPR.
It happens too much. Unless at that level, at that age, you need someone to think, no, you're a player. Otherwise, you're in trouble. You need someone at between 16 and 21 to say, yeah, we like you, because so many players get let go.
So, Jay, can I jump?
Yeah, go on. Yeah, of course.
Is there a scouting hierarchy in the system? So if a certain scout was like, oh, this player's good, would they get more recognition than someone else? Or is it kind of pretty much...
So how do you mean?
So like, just say like a particular... So let's say I said player X is good, and they're like, oh yeah, Keith giving him a good recognition. But if John said it, they'd be like, oh, maybe not.
Credibility.
Yeah, I think there's definitely that. But I think clubs are more... So for example, if there was a boy at Arsenal, say at 16, 17, like you would go and watch him, and then you would go and watch, and then you would go and watch. So it's not like just one person making the decision.
Right.
It's more of a collaborative effort to go and look at the players. Like they'll watch them for months. It's not like just off the cuff. Yeah.
And do you see... Sorry, do you see some of the... So you made a point about now different players are getting pushed and different players are getting championed. Are you seeing sort of the approach to scouting and some of that changing? So almost talking more about what a player can do as opposed to what they can't do? Or is it pretty much the same?
I think, I'll be honest with you, in London, if you look at all of the youth, so pre-academy, so 5 to 8, a lot of them are black scouts, black coaches that have their own academy that are partnered with clubs.
Okay. They want that whole street baller thing. Yeah. Okay.
Because they're not on the streets no more, but the certain clubs have them in. So that's how they're partnering. So like in a younger level, you see a lot of black coaches now, more than ever. Still, when you get to the older age groups, it's not as much, but it's improving. But yeah, in terms of the players, the clubs they know who to partner with to get the players in.
So like kind of like around the age thing. So, and the first question was about the youth system and like talking to certain things like category A or category 1 academy.
Yeah.
Do you feel that holds any relevance for parents, or it shouldn't really matter and it should more be based around the development?
No, they would do. It would do. They, if certain parents would travel an hour and a half, that's the limit you can go at youth level until they turn 14. An hour and a half. Some would travel from like South London to go to Tottenham when you got Crystal Palace. So, but sometimes that's not always the best pathway. If you look at centre backs, especially category 2, look, Maguire was at Sheffield United, Ezri Konsa, Charlton Cat 2, Joe Gomez, Cat 2, John Stones, Barnsley, Cat 2. So maybe they kind of like produce certain type of players in terms of defensively. But yeah, you're going to see more the players will tend to come from Cat 1 because at 14 now, the recruitment and the money being spent on players at 14 is crazy.
Wow.
Which leads nicely to the next point I was going to make. Me and my friends have had, and Keith's been involved in a couple of these conversations, we're saying it's almost like football for kids is kind of turning into the same level as other middle-class sports like golf and that, etc. So, you know, all the one-on-one training, you know, the level is, like the line is moving. So if your kid is not, if you're not spending that type of money on your child's coaching and all the kit, etc., they're gonna get left behind. Is that a fair assessment of where it's going?
I think it's right. Like there's so much money. Like parents are spending like maybe up to £100 on a one-to-one session. Not necessarily. It could be good.
Yeah,
I'm not like it could be good.
Yeah,
It could be good, but you know, it could be worse. Investing in other things. You know, like maybe instead of playing computer, you're getting them out and they're doing sport.
Yeah.
Is it necessary? I'm not too sure. I think sometimes it turns players into robots.
Yeah.
I miss that sense of street football. Back in the day, I used to play on the estate and used to find your own way. Find your own way on the pitch. But yeah, it's becoming a sport where
you need to have a certain level of resources. To keep up.
So it's like a business side of things as well that you need. Can I just ask you about that robotic comment? Because that's something that I've seen a lot now, is that players almost now seem like they're being overcoached. Do you feel like a little bit of the flair element's gone out, that players are being told now what to do in each situation, and almost like now they're not really thinking for themselves as much? What do you
I think definitely at the young, like I'd say from 8 to 14, it shouldn't really be an emphasis on the tactical or the positioning. It should be everything with the ball. Tottenham do it really well at their academy, where it's always been focused on the ball. But I still think there's too much coaching, do this, do that, where it should be just get to know the ball as much as you can, practice your skills, shooting, finishing. I think when you get to 14, 15, I think there needs to be a tactical element into the game, but it's to get the players in their positions.
Yeah.
Okay. I had one boy, the age group I had at Brighton, we had a good solid core, but then we lost one player to Chelsea. Who's doing really well now. But our team, we recruited. I brought so many boys down from London.
Yeah.
Crazy. They used to have, during COVID, they had to send 2 buses because it could only have
certain amount in one bus.
I was bringing them in. And I used to fight. I remember there was one player I fought for. Like that. So it was me, the scout and myself. And I went to, they had a centre in Whiteleaf. And I'd gone there. No one's ever gone there. So I've gone, like, I'll come. I saw this kid. I was like, why is this kid here? He needs to come in. I got him in within 2 weeks. Did really well, but they were like, I'm not sure. We've got other players in the position. I was in the back. And a previous situation when I was at Charlton, I had a player for a year. You're not meant to have a player on year for trial, by the way. I had him on year for a year. I remember I played him against Millwall, central midfield. He was a dot. Unbelievable. Couldn't get the ball off of him. He was brilliant. But I was a young coach. And people said, nah, not sure on him. He's now at Fulham on loan. At Wigan, smashing it. But going back to this boy at Brighton, so that scenario, I was like, nah, I'm quiet in the back of the room. They're showing these clips. I'm just sitting there. And then the academy manager goes, what's up with you? I said, if we let this boy go, I don't know nothing about football.
You were that? Yeah, that was.
I was like, if we let this boy go, I know nothing about.
And what was it? Was it just his ability? Was it his temperament? Was it everything?
It's just the way he played.
Okay.
You want to watch? You just want to watch him play.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, you can't. One, we're not in London. You can't afford to let these players come in and go.
Yeah.
So that fought for him. He signed, and then I left like 6 months later to go to Crawley, and then I found out he was one of two to get early scholarship.
Imagine.
Oh,
Really
okay.
good.
And
Yeah,
now
yeah,
he's and now he's flying.
Yeah.
And it's like, because that's why you need someone to fight for you.
Yeah,
Otherwise,
Then that's it.
it's
that's it.
tough.
So when we now look forward, where do you think the whole, because it's an industry, as you've alluded to, it's a youth industry now, and to build on a couple of the questions we've asked, a couple of points, where do you think it's going? Because I see, like, parents making accounts for their kids, and it's Cruyff turns and stepovers and all this stuff. Where do you think the whole youth football kind of industry is going? Or do you think it's all noise and at the end of the day?
I think we're, that's funny because obviously I've got the social media account, but I think we're all uncomfortable with it.
Yeah.
These kids, it's the norm to them.
Yeah.
Like it's
They've grown up with it, I guess.
Yeah, they've grown up. They don't know any different.
Mm.
But yeah, like parents, a lot of the parents, I think it's good that they oversee the account.
Yeah.
I don't think they should. I don't think there's a need to have like 7-year-olds, 8-year-olds, but it's your parenting. I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
But it can become dangerous because players that were seen top, and from being a coach in the game, I know the players as well because I've faced them.
Yeah.
And then you see what's going up, and you think you don't need to be putting this up. It's just unnecessary pressure. They go from Chelsea, then next 3 years you don't see them.
Yeah.
And you think how
Exactly.
they got massive accounts.
Yeah.
Like,
And that's what I'm thinking. And you've got a massive account, not necessarily because you've achieved anything in the game.
yeah.
It's just because your mum and dad are good with the clips and you're good with the skills, etc. And is it now gonna almost all that around it deviate from it, or actually now are lots of kids who may or may not have been seen before? Are we gonna get to a point where actually some scouts are picking up people from social media because they're in one corner of the country that has no visibility?
Yeah, when I've posted up players, they'll contact them, the parents. They'll try and find the parents, and
oh really?
so it does. It does happen. But in terms of, I always try to show different clips. There's certain clips that will go viral, but do I personally believe in those type of clips? Not really, but because it serves a purpose. I like the ones where I've put clips of players where it shows they're good and they're bad.
Yes.
And then people are like, oh, he's rubbish. I'm thinking, this is football though.
I think I saw one, I don't know if you posted it today, but I saw it today where the kids missed a penalty.
What's that mean?
I think he's gone through, basically it's one bad, then one good. So you're showing something bad's happened, okay. And then he's gone on to score not 2 minutes later.
Yes,
yeah. So he missed the penalty. You worried me there for a second. Yo.
There's so much that goes on.
Was that the other account? Yeah. But he missed the penalty. And I was like, okay, where we going with this type of vibe? And then you said actually 2 minutes later, he's picked himself up, he's beat his man, and then he scored. And it's like, it's not all roses. Like, but normally people only show the clip where he scored. Yeah.
So that's why I tend, like, this obviously on X, I'm able to show longer clips, but I often try to show what they're good at, but where they need to improve on. And that's another thing that I do. I work with players myself.
Okay, still coaching.
Where I analyze. So I've got players in the Premier League, Championship level, and then lower. So it's just trying to manage my time.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Can I just ask about when you evaluate a player? How long would you feel you need to see a player? How many times? And is there certain things that you're looking for, or are you just going in there with just a blank piece of paper and seeing what you're getting from that player?
So different positions you look at different criteria. There's been occasions where I've just seen a player once. That's all I need to see.
Okay,
I don't need to see. There's others where you have to watch him a bit more, where you're not sure. You've got to look at the style that he's playing in, because sometimes the player, you got to see a player that maybe he's not playing in the right style for him. But if you bring him here over to there, like now you can shine. Along with, you got to recognise who they're playing up against as well. The opposition could be poor and they're shining, but what are they like when things are difficult? Do they still do the same things? And that's probably one of the biggest things for me over my time in youth football is the transition.
Yes.
The key for players is being able to do what they did at 15, 16 into the first team. Look at all of them. Rooney, Jude, Jamal, even Harvey Elliott. They play exactly the same Cole Palmer.
Yeah,
Cole Palmer.
Foden.
He was Cole Palmer was
Cole Palmer was a bit of power league.
Yeah, you tweeted about Cole Palmer relatively early, and I've seen like not you. So when he's done something well, like now, I've seen your followers say, "Oh yeah, Secret Scout said this about," and like you were right. Like you picked up all these years ago, blah blah blah, and you can see the clips from when he was like, say like 17, 18.
Yeah.
He's doing, like you say, he's doing the same thing now.
Yeah, it's just it's the arrogance that these players have. That's what they can do. And I kind of get like with Jude Bellingham at the moment, they're saying, he's not that great.
I know.
But I'm like, come on, man.
Bro.
Like,
We have a friend that is trying to convince us that Jude is all hype. It's just like
crazy. If you see him when he plays deeper as a like 6 or 8, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, but you got to recognize why he's playing in that style at Real Madrid. He's got Camavinga, Tchouaméni, Cruz, so he's not needed now for that.
Yeah. And you get there, someone like Carlos says, "I think you can do this." You're gonna believe him, and he's doing it. He was top scorer at one point. He's one top scorer. So look, I think we'll probably run out of time. So I think we're gonna have to get you back on. You know, we've got lots to talk about. But just to wrap up. This is one of them questions. If you don't want to answer it, then say so. This is Keith's question, by the way. I'm snitching. Is there someone that you thought would make it and who hasn't, and they wouldn't mind you kind of saying so?
That hasn't made. What do you mean by not made it?
Yeah,
like that's like they still have a career or
so
didn't?
They didn't reach the heights
that you expect.
The one I'm probably disappointed was I messaged him yesterday. It was Karamoko Dembele. He was
the Celtic.
Yeah, the Celtic.
Yeah, and he's at Blackpool now.
He's at Blackpool.
Yeah.
And this is what the importance of having people around you, you know, because he was a wonderful talent. Like he was at the same tournament. I coached against him when I was at Charlton. We played in a tournament, and I had to do a number on him. I had to put 2 on him.
Serious?
Yeah, I had to put 2 on him.
What age was that?
This was under 14.
Yeah.
Wow.
He was taking liberties in the tournament. And I loved it because he's putting the ball through the legs over. I went to my 2 best players, the 2 midfielders. I was like, don't let him.
Yeah.
They let him go in the first half, and then he done his magic. But then we came back to beat them. But Jude was playing for Birmingham on the other pitch, and I was telling him, use this kid. But then, you know, as a coach, you're looking at like, wow, this is exciting. But yeah, Karamoko, he was he was on the same level as Jude, and Jamal at England. Like that team, he was one of the star players. But I said the transition, like it didn't work out with him at Celtic. The relationship with the manager broke down, and then he was advised to go to Brest in France.
Yeah,
and it didn't work out. Just didn't work out. Weren't getting any minutes. You know, now he came back to Blackpool, and now he had 2 assists yesterday, and he's thriving again. So he might, as you say, he probably didn't. He's not at the level compared to like where the other boys were.
Yeah.
But it's just good to see him back playing and thriving. Because
and we've seen funnier things in football, you know. You don't know where he can get back.
He's still young, isn't it? So,
he's still young.
He's still what, 2021?
20.
Yeah, there you go.
The issue is it's the people around making the wrong moves, and sometimes people want to make money. So
it's in their best interest, not the players.
And that's probably it probably happens a bit too much.
Okay.
In the game.
Listen, thank you so much.
No,
it's been super
really
insightful,
it, man.
And we'll definitely have you back on. There's a few more topics and things to dive into, but that was episode 59 of the Centre Circle podcast. Remember, guys, please like, comment, and subscribe. We will be back next week with another episode.
Peace.